All right, Johnny, week two. How did we do in week one?
Week one was not necessarily the start we wanted. We went 1-2 in our straight up picks, but we did hit the teaser. So essentially, we went 2-2. So depending how you calculate it, we are down point 0.1 units or $10. Our goal is trying to be profitable, as much profit as possible. So I could care less if I go 500 for the year. If we are up units at the end of the year, it is a success. I feel good about week two. You could beat yourself up for a bad week one or not start you wanted, but it's a fresh season, and let's get rowdy out there and
Yeah.
see what happens.
From my understanding, week two is like the overreaction week. From week one, people think they know what's going on, and then week two goes opposite. Is that right?
Exactly. This is a big overreaction week for all gamblers and all watchers of football, and it's you can definitely tell by some of these lines. There's a lot of juiced dogs that are of they're just bad teams, but people are
Hmm.
going to talk themselves into taking some pretty bad teams this week because they're like, are they really that bad? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So generally, avoid the favorites this week. So week two, pick one.
So we're gonna go back. Speaking of week one to week one, and there was two teams that played that I think are both hot trash. So it was a game of Tennessee versus the Chicago Bears. I don't know
Hmm.
if any of you sickos out there watched this game. Tennessee was up 17-0 and ended up losing. You know what's crazy about that though? Is Chicago didn't score a offensive touchdown in order to come back and win. So I think both these teams are trash. So with the first pick, I know road favorites are always hard to take, but we're gonna go with the vaccinated New York Jets going into Tennessee and laying 3.5 points. I think Tennessee is a bad team. I don't trust Will Levis. The guy couldn't even beat out Sean Clifford at Penn State. I've always been skeptical of him. New coach, a bunch of new pieces. I think the Jets on Monday Night Football was more about how good San Francisco is. As we know, I'm a big San Francisco 49ers homer and better when I'm not rooting for my Browns. I think they're the class of the NFC, so I wouldn't read too much in their week one performance. I like the Jets to bounce back, even on the road, and lay the points.
Okay. Jets on the road, 3.5. You said.
3.5, which I kind of like that number, believe it or not. Most people would be scared of the hook, but that kind of shows you that they're baiting you to take Tennessee with the home dog at home with the hook.
Hmm. Smart. I like it. All right. Pick number two.
Pick number two, although I feel great about this pick, it's against my best judgment. If you follow long enough, this line stinks to high heaven, and normally we go the opposite way, but we're going to go with the public side and kind of see what happens. We have the other team in that horrible, awful game last week. We're gonna go with Houston at home, laying 6.5 against the Bears.
Yeah.
Um, I think the Bears aren't good. I think Caleb Williams is young, and we don't really know what he is. Houston's kind of more of a proven entity at home. It looks too easy because if you're just like, oh, they win by a touchdown, watch Houston win by six in this not cover. But as you'll see with my sprinkles to come, I think there's a better way to probably play this. But I still like Houston at home, only laying 6.5 against what I still think is a very bad roster and a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, they're bad. They only looked good because they were playing an even worse team.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. 6.5 points laying those. So we got two favorites so far. All right.
Yes, we're gone.
Pick
We're kind of
number
bucketing.
three.
This is where it gets really sick out here. Um, we're not going to throw on the costume every week. I know it didn't work out how we wanted it in week one, but I'm an underboy at heart, and we are going with the lowest total of the week. We are going to Pittsburgh, going on the road to Mile High to Denver, and the total sits at 36.5 points. We are taking the under. This is in Iowa State area. This is northwestern Miami of Ohio territory. This is disgusting. But if you watched both those games last week, and I did, I don't know who's going to score points. Um, Everyone thinks that overtime is a under better's worst nightmare. To me, it's not. It's actually two good defenses. I'm terrified of defensive touchdowns in this game, but that is the only thing that scares me because I do not see these offenses doing anything with the ball, and 36.5 does not scare me.
Yeah. Bill is high on the Steelers. I don't know why.
I don't know why he's getting vibes of Cleveland from last year, good defense. I just think they have a lot of holes on offense. Like the Browns last year could still score touchdowns and move the ball. I have no faith in this Pittsburgh offense to score any points. So I'm going to continue to fade them and their offense specifically until I'm wrong. And I think this is the best way to do it this week by taking the under.
So is it the under or is it the lowest scoring game of the week? Which one are you
It
taking?
oh no. I was just pointing out that I am a sicko and I want to take the under on the lowest total of the week. This is projected to be the
Oh, that's what you mean.
lowest.
Okay,
This is
because there is
projected.
a bet for
Yes,
lowest
there is a
scoring
bet for
game
that.
of the week.
Right. You probably could get actually though with this probably would actually you probably have to lay some odds. This probably would be like minus 200
Mhm.
just because it's so much lower than some of the other games. You're kind of have to bake in the 2 to 3 extra points. But yeah, this is just more even when it looks too low. I mean I like this game to be 17-10 and
Okay.
cover by 9 points or more.
The AFC North, we know how to do ugly games, and the Steelers will bring that to Denver.
Right, and without shouting out last week with the uh, AFC North under teaser hitting, I mean, I like the numbers again this week. I might do it myself. It's not going to be an official play, but though I just feel like the numbers are inflated. It's a defense driven league, and I just like the under so far.
Okay, those are our three. We're laying some points. We're taking the under. He is the Undertaker. Um,
Undertaker.
and there's always a little sprinkle of something nice on top. What is that?
Right. So instead of just taking one more pick, we're going to split it into two, whether it's so we'll just call it half unit plays. I think there's a lot of good favored teams that are anywhere from 4.5 to 8.5 point favorites. I don't know if I feel comfortable laying all those points. I think some of them are going to be close games, but I do like this juicy money line parlay. We are going to be taking Dallas, Baltimore, the Chargers, Detroit, Houston, and Philly all to win, and that comes out at about plus 430. So basically over 4.5 to 1. We're going to put a half unit on that. And then thanks to our good partners at FanDuel, there's a nice little money line boost. And this is not, I'll preface it, I'll give it first and then preface it. But with our other half unit, we are going to take the Cleveland Browns money line of plus 138. And you can multiply that by two up to plus 276, which by odds, that's like the Browns being an 8 or 9 point underdog. I just think with those juiced odds in the promotion, it's just too hard to stay away. Basically, I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be a close, low scoring game. Uh, Jacksonville is down both starting cornerbacks. And I know it's easy to make fun of Deshaun. I think he's garbage and a bad football player right now. This is a bet. Uh, this is a bet for Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski is 9-8 straight up after a loss in his coaching tenure. This is just more about him rallying the troops and kind of all hands on deck, any way to win. I don't feel great about it, but it's why we call it gambling.
Yep. And I don't know if receivers caught. I think there was like four drop passes. Like if they
Yes,
caught those, we wouldn't be so down on him this week.
right.
I
I
mean, one of
mean,
those was a great pass to
right,
Cooper for
right.
a touchdown. Like it hit his hands.
Yeah, there was some funky things that went into that last game. One of the picks was a tip ball. You have a special teams return touchdown. The vibes weren't great last week. He kind of had that look in his eyes. I don't know if that has anything to do with his dad passing away last weekend.
Yeah.
If we want to read into that, but I think the team's going to look different this week, and I'm kind of gonna bet with that because if it's not, the season's going to turn real bad real quick. So
Yeah.
I'm at least betting on a competitive game that is going to be close in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And Dallas might have just been better. Like
Yeah, I
it
mean
wasn't going to go our way
they played
a
well that
lot of the
game. Yep,
times. Yeah.
yep.
Um, for fantasy people, CMC is out. How does that make you feel?
I normally would be very sad, but I don't know if the Jets are just that bad run defense. Was brought up on the Bill Pod this morning, but whoever that backup is that was off the street, undrafted free agent I've never even heard of, he was running so hard on Monday night. I was like, you. I mean, I think I the wise guys are never wrong, and when I saw that he was out. about an hour before the game on Monday night, and the line only moved like a half a point. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, so the best running back in America in the world is worth a half a point. I was like, either it was baked into the cake, which it probably was. They're gonna hedge that way if they hear something, but it just shows you that Kyle Shanahan is just a genius when it comes to his zone run scheme and getting guys out in space. So it almost looks like plug and play. Um, so yeah, I still think they're a juggernaut at this point.
Nice. Okay, sounds good. I'll lock them in. Good luck.
Cheers.